Hi, this is Mr. G, and this is my very first algebra video. Today is February 4th, 2021. I recommend writing the date on your notes to help you keep track of your notes and put them in order. Let's start with an expression. An expression is a mathematical phrase that includes one or more variables. So one example is 5x plus 3. So I'm going to just try to point out some vocabulary. We have two terms. 5x is the first term, 3 is the second term. So when you look at 5x plus 3, you have 5 is what's called the coefficient. The coefficient 5 is being multiplied by x. Even though there's not a times symbol, 5 is being multiplied by x. X is the variable. And 3 is the constant. Okay? So when we're doing algebra, a lot of times we're solving for the unknown value for the variable, which is usually x. Okay? So earlier I called this an expression. If it doesn't have an equal sign, what we call it an expression. But if it does have an equal sign, then a lot of times in algebra we will solve for the unknown value. Okay, so I'm going to show you a simple two-step equation that some of you may be able to figure this out in your head just by kind of a guess and check. What could x possibly be, knowing that it's 5 times x? But the better way to do it in the long run is to learn a systematic approach. So you want to get x by itself. You want to get that x variable, that unknown quantity by itself. And you do that with a systematic approach. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get x by itself by minusing 3 from both sides of the equation. Okay, so 3 minus 3 is 0. Notice that I'm not going to write 0 though. Okay, we're just going to remember that it's just 5x now. It's not 5x plus 0, it's just 5x. Okay, 38 minus 3 is 35. Okay, now earlier I said 5x means 5 times x. Okay, so when we're solving equations, we want to use inverse operations, and inverse is just another word for opposite. So the opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. The opposite of times 5 is divide by 5. Okay, so a fraction is really division. 5 divided by 5 eliminates the 5. 5 divided by 5 isn't 0. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we're going to have 1x, okay? And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. 35 divided by 5 is 7. So x equals 7, okay? So when we're solving for x, I call it number crunching. All right, you want to use inverse operations. And inverse operations just means do the opposite. Do the opposite of whatever the relationships that the variable has with the other numbers. All right, but there is an order. You want to first add or subtract, and then once you add or subtract, you want to multiply or divide depending on the situation. Multiply or divide. So if x is being multiplied by 5, you do the opposite. Okay, you do the opposite called the inverse operation. You add or subtract, then you multiply or divide, and all the while you simplify. All right. So that's pretty much it for this mini lesson. I'm going to leave you with a little drawing because I like to draw. And this is actually what I look like, more or less. You might find that doodling and drawing is actually kind of helpful for learning because it kind